Hey everyone, welcome to LinkedIn Life Live. Happy Monday. Today we're going to do part two in social listening. But before we do that, we're going to ask a favor. Right down here on the left, do you see that red button? We want you to please hit that red button and hit subscribe so that you get all the latest from us. And don't forget, once you've done that, to hit the bell notification and make sure that you get alerts and the latest episodes and videos from Social Sales Link. So Bryn, social listening, remind everyone what that's all about.
So social listening is really about identifying what your buyers or your target audience wants to consume. One of the biggest challenges social sellers has is that they share content they want to share and really not take a deep dive into what really matters from the perspective of the audience. So this is part two of social listening and things that we can do to truly identify what it is that our prospective client or buyer or audience cares about.
I'm first. So I'm going to talk about, we used to call them LinkedIn company pages. That's what they were called because they were pages of companies, but LinkedIn decided to take company out. We don't know why. So now they're just called LinkedIn pages. So what you can do is up in the search bar, you can search for a company and bring up their company page. There's a heading like underneath the follow button, and it's home, about, posts, jobs, people, insights, videos. And this is a great source of information for you to socially listen. Find out the about section. That's one-stop shopping. You can go and click on their website and look at that. You can see how many employees there are, blah, 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 blah. But then there's posts. You really want to go and look at the posts. See, just to Bryn's point earlier, what is it that they're talking about? What are they teaching, and are there concerns that they're teaching their clients and their prospects about? Because you want to find out what problem they're solving for their clients so that you can then help them to do that. So post is a great way to do that. Also in the people section, you can go and find people there that you can follow. You can look at their profiles, and then there's some insights and there's videos, but really the post is what it's really all about. You want to go listen there, find out the content, and then you can use the people to find profile pages to look at, because that's what we're going to talk about now, right, Bob?
Right. So we've done the bit more of the global with looking at the company as a whole. So now we're going to get personal by diving rather deeper into the LinkedIn profiles of not only just one person, but of all of the people who will be making the final decisions on the purchase of your product or services. So there are anywhere from 6 to 10 people involved at any company who have a say-so in a B2B purchase. There was an older number that showed an average of 6.8 people. That's a lot of people, though, that you need to get to know during the sales process. Luckily, LinkedIn makes it easier to research them. So everything you need to know is either contained in or you can easily get to from their profile. So first, see if they're even active on LinkedIn. You can tell that by going to their activity section in the profile. You can see then not only what they've reacted or commented on, but any content that they're sharing. So read those reactions, read those shares, as they'll give you insight into what they care about in their professional lives. And of course, all the other content in their profiles can help too. Where did they go to high school or especially college? What in groups they may belong to, where they've worked in the past. All of these can really help you get to know those decision makers without even talking to them first. So you'll have more information going into these other meetings that you'll be setting up with these other decision makers, because they're making the decisions on the products and services that you're selling. So, you should do that. Biggest thing here, though, is to never ask a question that you can get the answer from their profile. So, for example, when people ask me about where I'm from, it says Lexington, Kentucky right on my profile. So when they come up with a question like that, I can tell that the person on the other end didn't really conduct due diligence on me by viewing my profile. And that ain't a good look, believe me. So now that we've drilled into a couple of the things in the profile, Sally Joe is going to go into a very important part of the profile where you can get even more intelligence. Sally Joe?
Thanks, Bob. To do a deeper dive in the profile, scroll down and look at recommendations, meaning what did people say about them? And, you can go and look at these 8 people. You can go and look at additional people within the organization that have an impact, because what it's going to do is it's going to tell you what they did to solve problems and how the customer valued them, especially if these were customers, or maybe they were even other vendors that gave a recommendation. But those recommendations, they can be golden, absolutely golden, for you to ascertain specific information, again, from the perspective of their clients. And so that it helps you, number one, learn what's important to them, maybe how they've helped their clients, and maybe how you can help them do that better. And also, maybe it gives you little clues on how to work with them, which can be really a big deal to have that kind of information. So don't neglect to scroll down and look at those recommendations.
And there's something else that I want to add to that as well. Not only do you want to read the recommendations that they've got coming in, but also, and just more from a intelligence gathering standpoint, read the recommendations that they have given as well. Because sometimes you can get clues about what they care about in a vendor, in an individual that they work with, especially if there's a common thread, if they've left several recommendations and they list quality and speed or something like that in every single one of them, you'll then know that that's something that they look for.
In addition, is also look at the skills in their profile.
Yes.
Right? Those are skills they've chosen to identify with. Before I put a bow on it, I just want to throw out Jennifer Wilner. Love that pages can now write articles too, not just us personally. So this is really great. So you can look at, when you're viewing pages that Bill talked about, do they have content that they're putting out? Because that's clearly what they want the world to know. So I'm just going to wrap it up. My final tip is, what do we do with all of this? So we look at their profile, we see where they're from, we see what college they went through, maybe we see our shared connections, we see what content they're sharing, what they care about, who's recommending them, what do we do with this? So there are quite a few things. And a lot of this is, how are we using this to build rapport and start relationships, right? So one of the things we can do, let's just pick one. Let's pick Sally Joe's recommendation piece, right? We look through these recommendations and maybe we see a theme that they're working with a lot of people in the IT industry or technology industry. We can now actually go find content that supports that. Hey, Sally Joe, I noticed you work with a lot of MSPs because you have all these recommendations, right? I found this benchmark report on how MSPs are exploding now with all the remote workers. I thought this might be of value to you. I took the time to understand what matters to you. Bob, I see you're from Lexington. Do you go to the horse races? Did you go to the Derby? Or what did you think of the Derby, right? Like, what are the things that clearly I took the time to identify and then bridge that to starting a conversation? Think about it as if you were in a networking meeting and I go, hey, Bob, I'm Bryn. Where are you from? Don't ask that question. You can see where he's from. It's like on his name badge, it says Lexington. But when he says it, what would your response be? You asked a question in real life to get a response. Think about, hey, I noticed. And what could you want to speak about? There are so many ways. Go ahead, Sally Jo.
Yeah, but you used to reference, and I thought this was a great reference. It used to be you walked into somebody's office for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you looked around their office before they started the meeting. It's like, where did they go to college? What awards did they get? This takes the place of that in a deeper way.
I had a gentleman call me who was the CEO of a company that said, I have a new sales rep who's fledgling a little bit, and we need some LinkedIn help. Can you come in and work with him for a half day? So when I walk in, the guy was like, I'm really good at sales. I know this industry inside and out. I don't need your help, and was kind of annoyed that the CEO did this, right? And I noticed he had all these Boy Scout things. He was a leader. And I had remembered on his LinkedIn profile that he was an Eagle Scout and that he's a Boy Scout leader. At the time, my boys were Cub Scouts. I totally stopped talking about LinkedIn and started talking about Cub Scouts. And he started to lean in, and it was his passion, and he was really excited. And then I said, one of the things we could do on LinkedIn is let's start searching for other people that care about Boy Scouts. And all of a sudden, he totally opened up, and then he ended up our client for years. He loved us. Really, let's take a step back and think about what matters to them. That's the piece in here, right? We have to stop talking about what we want to talk about and start talking about what they want to consume.
That could be regionally as well, because I remember I had a territory of the entire East Coast. And when I went south and I would start even asking business questions, oh, no, hold on. We need to know more about you and your family and what's important.
Yeah.
Whoa. And yet when I went to New York, 5 minutes, go.
There's a culture regionally. Knowing that coming into the conversation is vital, and you can learn that through social listening.
I'll just point out, so we listen with our eyes, right? So we have to look at things. When we're talking about listening, I just think that's interesting, but it's also a global thing. So if you do business internationally, it's very different. In Europe, you don't even talk about business on the first meeting. But what's really important is we've got to get used to this, because this is the new normal. I was just reading this morning, and I couldn't find the exact study, but McKinsey just came out with a study, and they said 75% of companies are saying now that they want the first meeting with a sales rep to be virtual. Why? Because now when you go to an office, it's a big deal. You have to wear a mask. They take your temperature. You have to sign in. We have to get used to doing this, because this is going to be the new normal. This is going to be the research you do. So before you would walk in the room, right, and you look for 2 things in 2 minutes, right? You look really quick. You're going to look through and find something, a Cub Scout, where they went to school, something. Well, now you can take your time and do it, as long as you do it the right way. And you do it with authenticity and genuineness, that you're just not. I just got something the other day, just today, a connection request is like, love the things I see you're doing with Social Sales Link. And I came back and said, what things are you talking about? Crickets. That's not authentic. I bet you say that to all the boys. They're saying that to everyone. It's a script that they're using, and it's not authentic, and it's not genuine. So remember that social listening is also listening with your eyes. So make sure you're looking. So thank you so much for tuning in to LinkedIn Life Live. Do us a favor, and down below, put the thumbs up. And also down below, put in the comments, tell us a little bit about your LinkedIn journey, so that we know a little bit more about you. And don't forget, hit subscribe, which is down there. Smash that button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification, so to make sure that you get the latest from us, because we're here just about every Monday. Bye-bye, everyone.